My favorite shoot has to be the party scene where Sebastian goes over to Felix's house, and it's not the first time he meets Elaine, but everyone's hanging out. It was a lot of fun to film. It ended up just being a party that we kind of had a camera rolling.
John and I were actually playing Super Smash Bros, which was kind of fun because we just kind of got to goof around with that.
I just got to watch my actors and all of their real life friends kind of interact and have fun and party.
A lot of the extras in that were people who I would normally have over at my house, you know. It was like a normal party. And, you know, Aoife, if you've ever met her, she plays Jenna Reed. She would totally say, "Guys,
I got the pizza! Woo! Yeah!"
If you've ever met her, that's just something she would say. You know, like, nobody was acting.
I think one shot that shows a particularly funny moment from filming where Sebastian's looking down at, I don't know, he's an extra, Gage Thompson's character. As the song climaxes and as like they're looking at each other and kind of laughing and everything, you'd think, oh, that's like a nice bit of acting. No, I was just realizing that we were wearing the exact same outfit. And he's looking at me with his face like, you just realized that, you idiot. And we're both just laughing so hard. And it was just a natural moment between me and one of my closest friends. And it was funny to see that kind of candid moment that I frankly didn't even know was being filmed be portrayed in this like dramatic light in the film. It was a lot of fun.
Everybody was just hanging out, and you know, Luca just kind of walked around with a camera and just watched us all interact. And yeah, like we were playing on my Nintendo Switch, and Luca was like, "All right, I'll get some shots of this." And we were playing on my foosball table, and Luca was like, "All right, I'm gonna get some shots of this." And we were eating pizza, and we were like, "All right, Luca, I'm gonna get some shots of this."
It was difficult to light that room because the entire thing was pretty dark, and we wanted it to be pretty dark because we wanted to translate the fact that it was nighttime, but in fact it was still pretty light out. So I had Will Wagner, who was an extra on set, pick up some lamps from the other room, plug them into the wall, and he basically stood there with 2 lamps in his hand, pointed at the actors as they did their lines, and it looked ridiculous. But in the end, I think it really casted a great light that managed to get some decent shots out of during that kiss scene.
How do you go about kissing somebody that you like have never kissed before? And like you don't necessarily want to do it more than you have to, so.
It was weird for me to have to ask my girlfriend over and over again to kiss another guy.
I feel like that was kind of uncomfortable, and I just I went about by like preparing myself by just telling myself that like, you know, it was for the movie and that, you know, it would look good in the end.
But in the end, I think it came out really well. And I mean, that's pretty great. So in the end of the day, we shot it and we got it done. It came out well, and that's all I could really hope for.
But you just kind of have to do what you gotta do, because that's how Luca wrote the script.
Yeah, the scene where I catch Elaine and Sebastian kissing, that was a hard scene to shoot. Throughout the first half of the movie, we're trying to like lead a trail of crumbs that if you're watching and paying attention, you can pick up that Felix is interested in Sebastian. And I've heard people say that it was really obvious, and I've heard people say that they had no clue it was coming. I think that we did it well, that if you're looking for evidence, then you can find it. But it was really hard to try and make myself look upset, even though I had effectively set the 2 characters up. Because at this point, we're still trying to make the big climactic scene of me kissing Sebastian look sort of surprising. But obviously you can't shield what Felix would be feeling in that moment, right? There's definitely a lot of nuance in that scene where, you know, like I close the curtain because I don't want anybody to see what I'm about to say. Or I don't want anybody to see what I'm about to feel, you know? And I mean, like I knew it line was hard because that took 2 or 3 tries because I just couldn't nail it. You know, I couldn't nail down what Felix would be feeling in that moment because he was like, yeah, I knew these 2 would hit it off, but I was kind of hoping they wouldn't. And then like that sad glance to the floor when Sebastian's turned around and like basking in it. That one was kind of like, because I had to be happy for my friend and sad for myself.
The kind of knowing as an actor what's going on and having to suppress that knowledge as the character, that was a fun challenge. That climactic scene between Felix and Sebastian.
Yeah, that was a hard scene to shoot simply because I had to try and capture so many things at once, and hopefully it came out well. It was a good scene. I think that it was pretty pivotal and it was fun to shoot, but also a challenge.
The most controversial one in the movie, by far, because including a subplot about a gay closeted character, that is a really sensitive topic, especially when you don't have anybody on cast that can vouch for the kind of difficulty the experience of coming out. We had to approach that with such sensitivity, and I can tell you that Max and I were both so worried the entire night. Like, is this going to come across really poorly in 10 years? And who knows if it will. I think we managed it well enough, and I think that showing that, this is acting and we're trying to show respect for Felix, that Sebastian isn't in the right when his reaction is so angry. That was really difficult. We were both really trying to think and put our perspectives outside of ourselves to try and get a sense of how could this be construed by anybody? How can we get through this without putting ourselves in a really bad light? And most importantly, how can we present this plot about a character, a gay character, in a way that really shows respect and dignity for the kind of struggle that they go through that we have no connection to personally.
And we got to the place to shoot, and it was this lookout in a neighborhood that none of us lived in. It was weird kissing John. Like, I've known that guy since kindergarten, and the way we were set up, my nose kept hitting his cheek.
Editing that scene became really difficult only because the way we shot it was so, I wouldn't even say complex, but almost just kind of like rudimentary. It was a very improvised rig. We had Max inside the car with his phone connected to a shotgun mic, which was recording their dialogue, while simultaneously I had my camera recording them essentially just mouthing words through the windshield. And then later on, I'd have to take what all I could see was their lips moving, take the audio from Max's phone and put them on each other to make it look like a coherent scene. But honestly, that alone took many, many hours of sitting in my room up late at night editing, and it came out well, I think. I'd like to think that all of the audio looks pretty synced up, but it was a lot of work, especially considering how much we shot, both recorded audio and recorded visual media. In the future, I'll definitely be recording my scenes a little bit differently, just because that rig just wasn't efficient.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about that scene was that Gage the entire time is in the back seat of my car. So John and I are doing this really intense scene, and then occasionally Gage would poke his head out from behind my headrest and be like, "Oh, he's in the car too."